Hey there, folks, and welcome to another episode of The Gun Show, the show that puts a little more K in your KDR. We're deploying into Battlefield 3 to help you turn that trickle of unlockables into a torrent, but we're doing things a bit differently today based on Battlefield reconnaissance. To put it simply, y'all are driving like a bunch of distracted teenagers. What's going on out there, people? Are you even paying attention? Well, stop texting and listen here, because we've got tips, strategies, and for the love of Pete, don't do that for all the vehicles of Battlefield 3 in this episode of The Gun Show. Let's start small, shall we? Meet the light vehicles. Vehicles in this class include this buggy, that buggy, the Humvee, the Vodnik, and this tiny boat. Light vehicles can get around the map faster than other earthbound conveyances, which makes them great for zipping out to capture points at the beginning of conquest matches or flanking around to steal points that aren't hotly contested. You can bring some friends along for the ride, but just because your parents gave you the keys and a mounted machine gun, don't go thinking you're tough. Light vehicles with a gunner can gun down or run down infantry, but any encounter with a rocket, a mine, or pretty much any other vehicle is not going to end well for you. There are no unlockable upgrades for light vehicles to make you tougher, so stay mobile and avoid driving directly through obvious choke points. Take it off-road, take it through the river, heck, take it out for a mid-match joyride just to blow off some steam. And remember, if you come across a fellow joyrider, don't hesitate to pull alongside him, give him a wave, switch to the gunner's seat, and have yourself a merry little Jeep duel. If you want a little more armor, a little more firepower, but you don't want to go full tank, then the IFVs are where it's at. Infantry fighting vehicles include the 8-wheeled LAV, the kind of tanky BMP, and the one that looks like a Jawa sandcrawler and can serve as a mobile spawn point even if no one's in it. Hint, hint. As the driver of an IFV, you can shoot explosive rounds that kill infantry, destroy cover, and cause problems for low-flying aircraft. And when you get a full crew in the LAV, it's like you're driving a party van. An armored, combat-rated, bristling with guns, can't wait to shoot you party van. Keep in mind that in any vehicle, the faster you move, the harder it is for your gunners to hit the bad guys. So use the boost wisely and drive smart. Normally, it's a bad idea to take on a tank in an IFV. But if you've unlocked and equipped the ATGM launcher, you've got a missile that gives you a fighting chance. Mobility is an effective combat tool, but keep in mind that for every good driver, there are a dozen who will gleefully chauffeur you to your fiery death. Work on your skills by driving from a third-person view and avoid tight corridors until you're confident you can get out of there in a hurry. Once a vehicle takes over 50% damage, it no longer repairs itself and becomes disabled. Disabled vehicles can't move well, if at all, and this is a big problem, especially when you're airborne. A disabled vehicle will burn until it explodes, so unless you have an engineer or a gadget to make repairs, get clear of the burning wreck before it becomes your funeral pyre. If your overeager teammates are getting you into too much trouble, maybe it's time to drive out to the countryside, find a nice secluded area, and just stare up at the sky through the targeting sights of your very own mobile anti-air battery. Mobile AA is a powerful way to make the skies friendlier for your allies, and the dual machine gun can easily shred any infantry foolish enough to get in your sights. As with all anti-aircraft fire, you need to lead your targets and look for the little X in your crosshairs that indicates a hit. This makes good practice for jet combat as well, which we'll talk about soon. Soon, okay? Keep your aviators on. Before we take to the skies, we need to talk about those masters of the ground, those treaded titans, those oh crap run away right nows, the main battle tanks. Infantry, land vehicles, air vehicles, all are vulnerable to the wrath of MBTs, but most can also take down a tank if properly situated. The biggest danger to a tank is a cocky driver, so even though you have the longest barrel on the battlefield, it's important to stay humble. Always travel with a gunner to swat any pesky engineers that come too close, with their rotten repair tools, and their stupid scruffy beards, and their stinky rocket launchers, and their dumb old baseball hats. Oh, and their sinister little anti-tank mines, which you should try to sweep clean by blasting the ground before entering high-traffic areas. If you find yourself in a good old-fashioned slugfest against another tank, keep your front pointed towards your enemy and aim for their broadside in order to use the tank's armor to your advantage. The gun show encourages smart, safe driving, but we'd be remiss if we didn't encourage you to live it up a little. Blast holes in buildings, take shots at enemy aircraft, and if you're playing as one of the aforementioned pesky engineers, try to pull off a tank jacking. Here's what you do. Sneak up next to a tank, then use your repair tool to damage it. Once it catches fire, watch for the crew jumping out on the left side of the vehicle and gun them down. Then repair the tank and claim it as thine own. This is the kind of story that makes Battlefield 3 such a blast to play. So get out there and make some memories. Now, though the game may be full of memorable moments, your first few attempts at piloting a helicopter will likely be moments you want to forget. So do yourself and your team a favor, get off that competitive multiplayer server and fire up some co-op. Run the Fire in the Sky mission a few times so you get a chance to fly in a less hostile environment. The key thing to remember is that unlike every other vehicle in the game, helicopters do not accelerate forwards or backwards. They go up and they go down. If you want to go any other direction, you need to tilt the entire craft. It can definitely be a bit dicey at first, but stick with it and take it slow. Once you can come to a stop and hover, circle a ground target, and zoom away from an area really fast, it's time to get shot down. It's time to join a multiplayer game. Your first helicopter forays are always the toughest because in addition to having to, fly the damn thing, there are also lots of people trying to shoot you down. So how is a helpless helo supposed to survive in this cruel, cruel world? Well, if you're in a transport helicopter like the Venom or the Kasatka, you'd better keep moving or have a full crew because you aren't going to get any unlocks to help you out. In the smaller scout helicopters and the burlier attack helicopters, your first unlock is the missile-baffling IR flares, which makes staying aloft much easier. But in order to get these lifesavers, you need points. Shooting ground targets with attack helicopters is definitely doable thanks to your rockets and gunner. You did get a gunner, right? Good. Still, aiming your nose towards the ground tends to bring you much closer to horrible crashing doom, so try picking on someone more your size and altitude. Other helicopters make good targets, but if you can't quite get the hang of shooting folks yet, there's still hope. Spotting enemies is always recommended, and you can earn a nice point bonus for your troubles. Alternatively, join a conquest match on Canals or Damavand Peak and spawn in a helicopter. When the match begins, beeline it for the first capture point and hover or set down close enough to get inside the capture radius. A cool 250 points is your reward, and with just 2 captures, the IR flares are yours. Soon after that, you unlock Heat Seekers, and now you're the one terrifying newbie pilots and causing them to crash and burn. It's the circle of life, and it moves... excuse me, did someone say jets? Yeah, bro, jets! They look so cool! They fly so fast! I'm gonna be like Maverick and give some Ruski the bird! Let's do this! Yeah! Oh god, oh god, oh, not good, oh, where did that ground come from? Seriously, did you see that? I just got killed by, like, tectonic plate movement, man. This is some horse S. No, my dear Broverick, that is not horse S. You just got killed by you. Jets may not be as tough to fly as helicopters, but they do take some patience and practice. The's no cooperative kiddie pool, however, so your first time up, do some laps and get the hang of the handling. Learn to turn by rolling to one side and then pitching upward. Decelerating can make you turn more sharply, and keep in mind that you don't need to hold the throttle all the time. As with helicopters, your first concern should be unlocking those IR flares, so to earn points, spot your enemies and target your fellow flyers. Helicopters make fat targets, but other jets are good as well because they move at high speed just like you. To avoid surface-to-air missiles until you earn your flares, stay high. Those things have a maximum lock-on range which you can exceed with a little effort. If you do get locked, take evasive action and hit the afterburners. It totally works! Sometimes! Once you're over the hump and have your flares and heat seekers, then you're on your way to air superiority. On second thought, make that air competency. Air functionality? Well, wherever you end up on the piloting spectrum, the gun show wishes you the best. Unless you end up on the opposing team. In which case, we wish you a fiery and ignominious death at our hands. Drive safe, fly smart, deploy your parachute, and always spot your enemies. Oh, and hey, thanks for watching The Gun Show.